Alex, thank you so much for joining us here in BlockShow and North America in Las Vegas. You just hopped off the stage to discuss the hype. The hype around ICO, the hype around regulation, the hype around the market in general. If there were a few key takeaways that you could have for our audience, those that didn't get a chance to see it, what were a few key takeaways about the hype?
Well, thank you very much for your warm welcome.
Sure.
Yeah, and I'm really excited to be the part of BlockShow, having said it on the stage. Let's speak about hype a little bit. Yeah, I think first the main thing that is quite temporary thing. It has a kind of takes part right now,
right,
but it will pass maybe in a couple of years, maybe in 1 year, I don't know, but actually it will pass sometime.
Okay.
And after all of this, which will remain? I think will remain the main things. It's advantages of technology, and also really good and sustainable projects which will remain on the market.
Do you think it's more centralized project or decentralized projects?
Actually, it's a good question, thank you, because from my perspective, you cannot build up kind of sustainable projects right now without a part of centralization.
Okay.
It's
I agree.
Yeah, because actually it's not only about kind of energy, right? Since you can do things in some anonymous way, right? Without regulation and so on and so forth. But actually, from my perspective, if you do things in like combination with centralized and decentralized solutions, you can also manage first your community, your users, and actually it might not be kind of disrupting the ways how things going on blockchain and in the whole crypto community, but it gives a kind of sense for everything what is happening in terms of regulation.
Okay.
Right?
Give me an example of, give me your best example of your favorite decentralized, centralized company or application.
Okay. In terms of decentralized companies, it's quite a few examples of truly decentralized companies for right now. Yeah, because actually, having said on the stage, it's kind of the struggling industry. For example, the most kind of popular decentralized application at the moment is the IRIS exchange. It's a kind of decentralized exchange, and it has just 3,000 users daily.
Okay.
So in comparison to, for example, Binance with 500,000 or even more, it's literally nothing, right?
Right.
Yeah. Right. So, but actually, maybe these companies they're struggling to do things in a decentralized way, but actually they're completely missing the regulation. But I must mention that actually decentralized, it doesn't mean unregulated.
So talk to me a little bit more. Decentralized doesn't necessarily mean that you're regulated.
Look, doing things, it means if you're doing things globally, all over the world in different kind of with different users from different jurisdictions, you have to be compliant with the regulation.
Yes, you do.
Yeah, you have to be. And actually, for be ready for that from technological perspective, you have to build things a little bit in different way than in building it just in decentralized way. Right. Obviously, there would be a kind of upcoming technologies like different blockchains would be, which would include maybe KYC, some KYC procedures inside.
AML and KYC.
Yeah. Right. And actually, there would be such kind of solution. But at the moment, if you use the existing technologies like Ether and something like that, you have to do things with some elements of centralization.
Right.
Yeah. So,
and in regards to regulation, how is that going to affect a lot of the future, let's just say ICOs or blockchain projects?
Well, actually, from my perspective, if we talk about how it would affect, it would affect in some positive ways, since actually the rules of the game will be defined.
Some people look at regulation as a very bad word. It's the R word, right? That's how bad regulation is. But you're saying it's, and I happen to agree, regulation isn't really all that bad as long as it's not a broad stroke. A broad stroke doesn't allow for innovation. It actually could stifle it. Because they're not looking at acceptances or rules, all right, or special rules for certain companies. We have best practices, again, from payment industry standards, from loyalty and rewards, even securities, for the most part, that I think that if we had the correct global administration, is it almost a UN for crypto and blockchain for regulation, stating that we truly do need to look at certain economies, certain geographical limitations, and we may have to have a cog inside there that won't be the best solution, but it will be the solution that we need to connect everyone else inside the world. So that, again, to your point, that centralized decentralization.
Yeah, sure.
What other barriers to entry do you see with in the regulation world, in respect to the world of regulation in crypto? What are the main barriers that companies are going to have to overcome?
Actually, if I would say it's high cost of lawyers, I would be correct.
That would be
especially in terms of doing things in the United States.
You don't see that coming down at all?
Yeah, maybe a little bit, but it still remains quite high. If you do things properly, it might take you a bunch of money to spend on lawyers to shape up things from the perspective of regulatory compliance. And so, yeah, but actually there are also many kind of jurisdiction when you can also set up a kind of regulated entity and to do things around the world. Almost. Actually, you have to do things, if you want to do things in the United States, you have to obtain the United States regulation, but actually if you want to do things maybe globally in another jurisdiction, maybe it would be enough if you would be regulated in some other kind of part of the world.
The US regulations will be able to fall under that umbrella.
Sure.
But there's so many, I had a conversation in the elevator this morning. A company was thinking of going to Zurich, and they went to Malta instead, right? And you look at this mentality of globalization, and you think that you still don't have to travel across ponds, seas, etc. But with blockchain, isn't this supposed to overcome this barrier, quite frankly? Look at what we're trying to achieve in the world of blockchain and crypto, and exactly what we're looking to achieve is our barrier. We want we want the freedom to engage in business anywhere. That's our barrier right now, is they won't let the blockchain and crypto world do that. The United States regulation is not for Malta, Zurich, Egypt, Kenya, right? So we have a lot of challenges, and I was just wondering if you saw any steps, or if you were taking any steps towards helping the blockchain and crypto world in that respect.
Look, I think that's the first thing you need to do if you would like to get regulated, to make a decision where exactly you want to obtain the license, for example, right? I can only rely on my personal experience because in terms of Oxygen, as for now, we are obtaining the license and we're in the transition.
So walk me through that. Where are you obtaining? What licenses you have? Where are you obtaining new ones?
Look, we have established a company in Gibraltar.
Okay.
Yeah, we did it in December last year, and actually, according to local regulation, we just confirmed that we have operational business at that time, and we entered the transition period.
Okay.
And actually, for now, we are in the process of obtaining the license. It's quite a big journey with different steps. Actually, we have completed the application stage, and also we have a presentation of our project to the regulator. It happened around June, kind of something like that.
Very recent, yeah.
Yeah. So and now we are in the final stage of getting the getting regulated in Gibraltar according to local DLT framework.
Okay.
But actually, you may decide to do this on any jurisdiction you like. Maybe you personally more prefer to do things in Switzerland, for example, or somewhere else. But actually, according to our practice, when we were choosing the particular jurisdiction, there was the only sustainable regulatory framework in the world, according to the situation on December last year.
Okay.
Yeah. So now for sure you can do things on Malta, for example.
Right.
Yeah, but in December Malta did not exist on the map of blockchain.
Exactly. Now everyone has discovered.
Yeah, sure.
Now everyone it's the third word of anyone's mouth when they're looking for a company.
Yeah, sure. And I can tell a little bit more about maybe technical side of things if you want.
Would you mind please explain to our viewers a little more technical side on that and why that's so important?
Sure, I can tell you how we manage things with kind of combined approach with a centralized and decentralized solutions in terms of oxygen.
Absolutely, walk me through that.
Yeah, sure. From technological perspective, we have done it such way that there is a kind of white list of users of their kind of Ethereum addresses in our bundle of smart contracts, and even when the user came through the all procedures like AML check and KYC procedure on our web application, our web application, it puts his kind of Ethereum address to whitelist, get it whitelisted on our smart contracts. Yeah, so that's from technological side, it's quite simple thing.
I was going to say that's pretty simple. I thought we were going to walk through a very complex situation now.
No, yeah,
that's about as simple as you can get.
But actually, this kind of simple trick gives you the opportunity to manage what's going on with your application.
Can you let the viewers know what's the best site or searching in Google Play or the App Store to download?
The best which?
For your company, what's the best site so they can engage with the product?
Actually, we have not developed the application for mobile.
Not yet.
Because actually, our kind of platform called Oxygen is, for now, it's focused mostly on more institutional guys, right? Because it's mostly focused on OTC desks, kind of crypto funds, and some big miners who are trying to generate additional yield, for example, on their assets. And that's why we're getting a regulator as well, because we want to speak them and to be with them on the same page, right? Because if you want to approach some kind of big guys with big sizes, they want to lend out or to borrow, actually you have to speak with them on the same language. Okay. And that's why if you come up to them with some solution with a particular regulation, you would be nobody for them, right? It would not exist on this kind of map of blockchain applications.
Very, very interesting. Well, I have to tell you, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
If you can let us know the best way for someone to get in contact with you, and for the viewers, the folks out there that want to speak with you a little bit further, how can they reach out to you?
Oh, actually, you also always can reach out to me through email or Telegram. Would I name some particular?
Okay, that's
details?
just fine. We'll put the information at the bottom. That way, anyone wants to reach out to you.
Okay, sure. It would be a kind of would be a Telegram.
Okay.
It would be at Alex space MCDEE is quite complicated. Yeah.
No problem.
Or alex.melikhov at oxygen.trade.
Okay, thank you so much, Alex. I appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Take care.